Supreme Rising. Supreme Rising. You already know the vibes. Excuse me. Wipe my phone off real quick. Supreme Rising. Supreme motherfucking rise. You already know the vibes. Not gonna wise. Sun on me right now. Yo, you see the title? My solar return. Today I'm 47. 4 and 7, which is an 11. So we walk through that new doorway of energy. You know what I'm saying? 47. I look good for 47. I ain't get myself together yet, so I ain't too long. You know what I'm saying? Got up and started moving around, but yeah. I want to drop a jewel on y'all today, right? On my supreme return day. Shout out to me. 47. 47 years of my life, yo. I seen a lot of things. I heard a lot of stuff. I've watched a lot of things take place in the name of resistance. There's also been times when there's been an allowance that allows you to go past a limit of understanding because maybe it's needed. That feeling is so intoxicating. It makes you think that power was yours in the first place. So naturally, to my own constitute, I realized that every value that we embellish in from any self presentation is basically an allowance by divine. That's why they work the way they do for the moment. Sometimes you'll get the good things first, sometimes you'll get them later. But despite how they come, everything's supposed to be dealt in a level of comprehension, acceptance, and moderation. I never made no mistakes, yo. Once you realize, yeah, those things felt great, you thought you were doing it, and you realize that was divine the whole time. That's more humbling than any particular type of humbling aspect that could be given to you in existence. Like you go through your whole life believing that these things are because of you. Check this out. Even the bad things, right? Like you'll do a bunch of bad shit and believe, yo, I'm this, I'm that, I'm whatever. And you don't know you're being allowed to dig a hole so deep that when you finally get to a depth of it and you realize that's where you at, climbing back out, it's crazy. That's when the lesson learns. It's like there's a given. And that giving is based off what you truly choose. That's that unconditional love. People be like, yo, why does this get a chance to go on? Or why did that and why did that? Everything is the lesson. Everything is. That you choose to do with or without. In the same reference, it's only like that because of where we at. If you was on another existence, those dynamics would be completely different. If you was in another planet somewhere like, or another plane T, a place to be planted, it would be a different dynamic because of its own metrics. Metrics, matrix, mathematical. And I get to this point to where I'll be like, yo, yeah, you know, I can actually explain a lot of things, and I don't mind. But the level of what teaching is this day, it comes with more imbalance than it does its qualification. Like if you go somewhere to get food, that's the purpose, right? You go to get food. So you take your money and you purchase your item and you eat food. That's what you wanted to do. In this day, we have more of a ratio that people try to contend with values created by individuals to digress their comprehension. Meaning, you don't like the fact that they can do certain things, so you want to go in there and misbalance this understanding. Teachers are supposed to be teaching, so what wants to be teach should be listening. Football players want to play football, so they have to learn it, train for it. It's not to say you're not going to have particular questions or comprehensions needed to discuss, but it's what you pay for, right? Your attention is a currency. And unbeknownst to everybody else, you believe your voice should be heard more over than it should not. This is where the power of voice is actually cultivated, not by how much you're able to say something or if you can get everything you want to say out. No, it's in prepared to say the things that matter. Everybody can talk, but does everybody say something? And unfortunately, the reality is that that is not even the true comprehension. People just majority of the time speak because speaking may look attractive. Speaking may seem or feel good at the current moment, something to absorb the time. And then it becomes an addiction that everybody just finds something that we have to do. You see individuals rushing to say something. I wonder how much of that, of what you're saying, is acclimated or adhered to yourself. Let me tell you something. I created a class, right? And when I created that class, the knowledge I was dropping in it in full totality, I started experiencing some of those things. And I was like, that's deep because I created that via divine giving me the energy to transmute it through this flesh into this form to bring it into a physical reality. Double standard lesson. Yes, it filtered through and it was a powerful notion, but was I aware that I possibly may experience those things? Not at all. Did I comprehend that what was coming through me in its full totality, everything? Not at all. What I understood is when I allowed my vessel fully to be attached to divine, things came through me that I could not even comprehend at the moment. Over a period of time, it downloaded completely. I had it, but it had to acclimate to me. So I had to let it do that. And a lot of what I spoke or was able to create in a visual form, I've never experienced. The only way I can master that understanding is by feeling it. And the only way you can feel it is by experiencing it. Thus, the journey begins. Self-mastery. A lot of people are afraid of that loss of the comfortability that the system gives because you don't truly have a dependency for divine. So you make excuses while you substitute the system while you're dealing with divine, saying you have to have this in order for that. Divine is listening to you tell the Almighty, which does anything and all things at any level, that it has to wait on you. Well, divine needs to do this and do that. And then wait on it. So controlling people are and don't even see or pay attention to nothing that they say or do. When divine needs you humble as the baby that you came here through. That's how you gradually gain by being in that understanding. I used to worry about a lot of shit. I used to be like, I can't get here, I can't go there, I'm not gonna have this is not gonna be here. I don't give a shit if I have it, if I don't. I'll feel a little something, but it's not the first thing. My first thing is well divine. All the time. I don't give a shit what it is. It's well divine. And then I forget about it and I let it go. Because I got used to what it felt like to not have people in its full value. You know, I feel somebody steps over you, like literally. When somebody tosses something in your direction as if you're like what they're tossing on the ground. A facial expression that looks at you as insignificance. But that same mouth probably fixed his face to speak love. People who would pull themselves away from you because you're slightly not as clean as they are at the current moment. And they'll judge you because of dirt, although the dirt is what you need to be stable. My concept of reality has challenged every existence based off what people want to perceive as an existence. These are my experiences. Why did I get a chance to have that? Because I had that as a recognition. I knew it. I can recognize it. I can see it. I lived it. I felt it. And I didn't know why that wall was there. It was almost like a falsity that we were naturally agreeing with because the majority of the people felt the same. Not because it was real, it's just because everybody had that same weakness. So it was almost like, let's just go on with it. Certain things don't sit right with me sometimes because I know divine is almighty. Supreme rising. Supreme rising. So me personally, like I don't really get lost to those values anymore because I understand. Like I know I can see what majority of people are mentally. You know what I'm saying? By the value that's the most important. I've sat in homes with friends who have family. I've sat in other people's family as a guest. You know, I've sat in friend's house just coming in with them and I listened to what people would say in their homes, their values, their moment of morality, their need to express rules and regulations and contracts and conditions. I've seen these things in all types of places. And the thing that's never available, there's never not an availability for it to be just plainly connection to divine. People will say, oh no, we have a belief, but there's also so many things in between that belief and that truth. It's like everything in between there. It's like you got hurdles and obstacles that you created yourself because of your connection to the system. And I get it. I've been there. I was like a dynamic hustler. I was about getting money for real. You know what I'm saying? When I was younger. And I wanted to procure a lot of things that would allow people to be comfortable within my atmosphere. So that took me to have money to build these values. So I knew what that was. And then I felt like if I wasn't able to do that, then I wouldn't be able to do the things that I wanted to do the way I seen it for the people I wanted around me. That bothered me a lot. You know what I'm saying? So I would try to like recreate these values constantly. Um, Ultimately, to the reality of lack thereof, you understand that people don't come around you unless you can supply something for them. So then you start seeing the value of what you are. You start seeing what you do when you're attached to other equations as a mathematical problem. I saw what I was adding to the other numbers, so the equation, the equal amount to that notion spoke to a high value of what I was according. And now if I remove my actual equation from that, the equal amount to that equation didn't turn out to the same attribute. It went whatever direction that majority the time, if I wasn't in a place, would hold that stature. So then I understood that. And once you understand that, you know where to place that. You start saying, well, it was a waste to place it over there because it wasn't, reciprocal. It was you start seeing that like that. You start understanding the value. And it's not based off of gain, it's based off of respect, right? There's been plenty of times the respect that I carry for people, places, or things is not based off what I believe you worth. It's based off the fact of your time and your space. I have to respect you. So if you're doing something for me and I have the ability to involve you in it, I'm not going to think about treating you slave wage type or minimum wage type. I'm going to be like, nah, check this out here. You're going to be like, whoa, that's a lot. That was just an hour or two. I don't give a shit. It was your time in your life. Right there, I really don't need it. I was going to invest that in this whole project anyway. So since we got the whole thing done, I can leave you with all of that. It took us 3 hours. We walked away with $1,500, $1,600. You know what I'm saying? You moved like, damn, that was the best deal I made. The problem with people in life, instead of just giving and open up doors and allow people to flow in their own life correctly, we think of the doorway of holding things back. We think of, oh, that's not worth this. The job is done. What money are you trying to hold on to? Job is done. What ideal are you trying to circumvent? Like, I think in that way. Only reason why I'm giving it to you guys this way is because I've went through all the same conscious understandings that most people go through. And at 47 years of my life, right now, today is my birthday. At 47 years of my life, I completely understand why there's lack in the world and people don't see that they created. Yes, it started in different platforms and different circumstances where the world was ignorant. But that doesn't have anything to do with the power of what you can transcend today. And if you choose not to do greater things, do not be mad when you're not seen in a greater light. Greater things is things that people are not used to doing, hearing, feeling. How do you show up in someone's life? What does that look like for you individually? I challenge you to do something great for anyone. Continue to until your integrity becomes that. Until you've done it so much that divine sees fit to maintain that as a position for you. And you don't have to worry about how you're going to do it. You just do it because it's you. It's not for everybody. It's for you real ones out there. I ain't going to hold y'all because today my birthday. And I want to, I'm not born today. I was only born once. But I don't never put no energy into myself for the most part. And I want to see what that feels like. It's been a while. Not gonna wise.